Hello, everyone. How are you tonight? I am so excited for this evening, and I'm so grateful for you all being here. And I cannot wait for what is going to unfold very shortly. So, I am Chrissy, if you don't know me, and I am going through my own shedding process right now. I see all of you guys here who are so ready to do this too. And I am so, so excited for that because right now we are on the precipice of great change. Our world is burning, both the collective and our own personal worlds for some of us. And we are getting this opportunity to really step into our empowered self, our sovereign self, our true essence. But we have a little bit to let go of, most likely. If you're here, you've probably been feeling it. You've been feeling that thing bubble, like something is coming for you, and it's a little bit of chaos, a little bit of comfort, but also just like something is right around the corner. So, tonight we're going to be doing a lot of shifting, a lot of work on creating clarity for you moving forward so that you can really step into this new elevated version of yourself. We are in this magical phase right now where, as we awaken, the universe is helping us along. When we allow that to happen, it can happen a little bit more gently. And so, I'm going to go and talk a little bit about myself right now, introduce myself, tell you guys where I've been, my process of shedding, and how this is kind of coming to the surface. This workshop is going to hit on why right now it's so important to be working through this shedding process because we are entering into the year of the fire horse, which is really powerful, but we are coming out of the year of the snake. So we literally have snake skin to shed, to let go of, to release from our system. And so, in this whole process, it is really important to give ourselves grace because you have to think, where did you come from before? Where were you before you woke up? Where did you sit in your mind 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Where were you? How far have you grown? How far have you come? What have you let go of? What have you shifted from? I say 15 years because we're in a cycle right now where we are entering into the new chapter of Neptune and Aries. That's a 14-year cycle, right? Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it creates an opportunity for us to become someone new. So I'm going to hike back 15 years to go into where I was when I was 25 or whatever it was. I was a mess. I was drinking all the time. I was doing things that didn't align with myself because I was afraid of my spiritual gifts. I couldn't handle all of the energy that was happening around me. So I drank, I hid, had a massive fear of abandonment. My parents were divorced. I was, it is what it is. It's like not every typical 20-year-old story, but that was where I was at that time. And in that, I continually was in these relationships that were challenging, that were either emotionally abusive or I was cheated on. And it was a repetition of my experience with my father, right? And that fear. So in this preparation for this workshop, I had asked you all to pull together a few things you are fearful of, or things that you have felt guilt around, and ways in which you haven't forgiven yourself. And so I'm going to use myself on the bright and shiny stage to highlight one of my biggest fears that I've experienced throughout this past 15-year cycle, and that was the fear of abandonment. That's something that was deep rooted in me as a child. Every night before I went to bed, I would say to my dad, "I'll see you in the morning," because I was afraid he wouldn't be there. Right? So these things start when we are young and they ripple out into our adulthood. So that continued. I found partners that behaved that way. I constantly, ironically, abandoned myself continually in order to have some type of external validation that would support me through my experience, through my process of um, trying to heal that father wound of myself, right? And so for me, this is very front and center right now. If you follow me on social media, you know I just had a breakup too. So it's like all of these things happening and that we're moving through. Uh, it is very palpable, right? It is very palpable, these things, as we start to awaken, as we become more aware of our conscious self, we learn we have to shed. And each time we shed, we get to a higher level of consciousness. But that doesn't mean we are fully out of the woods from this thing quite yet. We have to continue to consciously make the effort to move forward, to move up, to spiral up past this, right? If we think about healing as, I'm going to use this card as an example, as a process, like if we have this card sticking out here as the wound, you're going to hit when you spiral into it. Each time you go around and you kind of have to like edge around it until you get to this point where you're spiraled up in your capacity enough that you no longer have to hit that same pattern over and over on your cycling, on your spiraling, on your up spiral, down spiral, whatever spiral. Hopefully it's not down spiral, but we are learning to expand our containers and to hold these things. So as I went through my process, I also, in these past 15 years, have had a divorce. I've had a lot of challenges in terms of balancing the relationship with my father, right? I no longer speak to him. I spoke to him. I didn't speak to him. It was this back and forth, back and forth. And in that, I continued to try to fill this void that was continually about abandoning, but I always put it outside of myself. So I was afraid of someone else abandoning me, but I was truly always abandoning myself. That hurts when you realize that. Fast forward to now, we're 5 years ago, 3 years ago. I 4 years ago I had a divorce. 3 years ago I had an awakening, and in that time I chose to dive extremely deep into spirituality. It was a calling. It felt very strong, and that's why I'm here right now talking to you on this stage, channeling energies and helping other people access their own spiritual gifts to be able to help them find their own true alignment. Now, in this whole process, we get the opportunity to share our story, but also to shine the light on the fact that a lot of the people that we are talking to are really here to, because they resonate in some way with our story. Lorraine just asked if I was an only child. No, I wasn't. I have an older brother, but he was very disconnected, and we were not close until maybe a few years ago, once I had kids and became an adult. um, so it was an interesting experience going through that and seeing, the dynamic there is very different. And what am I trying to do in this? I'm trying to shift my reality for my kids, for my family, and to find something different. So I dove into spirituality. I have this practice now where I'm helping other people with this. And in that, we have our own new system of creating alignment, right? Of finding our way back home to God, to source, to our own higher self, so that we can really find what is aligned with us. Now, in this experience, we have the opportunity to allow others to tell us our truth, or we have the opportunity to allow our own heart to tell us the truth. We can go see psychics. I shouldn't be saying this because I'm a psychic and people come to see me for readings, but the idea is the energy is something that I can read your energy, someone else could read my energy, but at the end of the day, the only person who can truly decide what is aligned for me is me. I am that. You are that for you. You can come see me, but if something that I say doesn't feel aligned, okay, that's fine. You do you. Listen to your own sovereign energy. That is where we have to remember that you are the sovereign being. And when you pull your power back, when you sit in alignment with what truly resonates in your heart space, you are going to flourish. You are going to soar, and you are going to really become the best version of yourself. I've spent about the last 6 months in a space where I continue to sort of contract in a way and experienced what it was like to abandon myself, to abandon my truth, to not feel fully aligned with what I was doing, but because the energies around me were saying, oh, this is right, this is right, this feels so good, this feels this way, this way. I was like, okay, great. And I again went back to that abandonment of self. This didn't feel right in my body, but I kept going because it felt like I should. This felt like I should do it. So in this whole process, it's been a coming home for myself. It's been a reminder of what truly matters to me. Things like this, being able to do donation based workshops, helping as many people as possible, getting back to my core and my root of being here in this space, in this capacity. And that's what feels good to me, being with my children, being in the space where I can hold them unconditionally, however I need to be a confident mother with them. So, this is my journey that I've been going on in the last 15 years, and it's come to a head in the last few years as I've had my awakening journey. Things happen more rapidly for you after you awaken because you cannot sleep anymore, right? You cannot hide the fact that something doesn't align because you're too tapped in. Your consciousness is too turned on in order for that to happen. This is not just physical in your mind, this is also energetic. Once we expand our energy, we cannot go backwards. We cannot shut it off. You can go through phases of incubation, right? Where we sort of turn this noise down, we turn the dial down, we let ourselves rest a little bit. But at the end of the day, the universe is still pushing towards your expansion, towards your, I don't like this word, but ascension, right? Because ascension is there is a physical shift that is happening to our frequency, as well as a mental shift that's also happening. Right? We are awakening mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually on all planes of existence. And so as we go through these expansions, we have to understand that they don't slow down, they don't stop. It's a continual process over and over and over. And that's okay, right? This is part of it. But this is why we feel like we have 20 dark nights of the soul and so many different awakenings and the powerful, powerful transformations. But I want to encourage you that as you continue along this journey of alignment and understanding, it gets easier because you start to be able to pay attention to the nuances within your body, within your energy field, and you start to be able to understand, oh, that didn't feel good. I feel like that's going to come back to me at some point and I'm going to have to look at that again. And chances are you're going to have to, right? So you can't just hide things under the rug anymore. There's no more rug once you have your awakening. There's no more rug. So we are here to remember that we don't have the rug anymore. We are fully addressing all of the debris, the dust, all the things in the room, and we are going to shed them. We are going to let them go tonight, and we are going to move forward. So we're going to, as you might have felt energy flowing already, we are going to officially open the container. Tonight, we are going to be working with your higher self, the energy of the Lemurians, as well as the energy of a group that I call the Guardians. The Guardians are 12th dimensional and higher frequency that help to align us to our most evolved self. And in that process, they help us to anchor in higher consciousness and to align to our ability to create our reality through our consciousness. So these are the energies that are here supporting us. We ask any of the spirit guides, higher selves, and energies that wish to step forward for each of you individually to come forth and to support you on this journey of shedding and alignment. Viotro kia aire oso toire kia kiara ko oire tia ia airo kosoto tia ia o oira ia akiro ko oira ta tira kairoto. As we continue to talk throughout this evening, you will feel energy shedding from your system, from your blueprint. This is a release of the patterns that no longer serve you. We'll go into further on about spiritual initiation and how these things show up. But by you being here, you have chosen to release as much as you can so that you can move as quickly and as beautifully and as swiftly as you can once the shifts happen for the year of the fire horse. Viokorote ia airoko siati ia airoko ia airoko o. Your channels are open. You are divinely connected to the energy of your higher self. It is important to remember that on this journey today, you are going to be receiving insights. I encourage you to write these down to hold space for yourself as you are moving through all of these things. And we're going to dive in now. Although we've already been talking about how these energies have kind of been playing out, we're going to move more into specifics. And as we move through this, I want you to be paying attention to your body. Pay attention to what comes up, any sensations that you are feeling, because that is going to help you to find what is really there within you, what needs to be seen, released, and anchored in a different way. So, as I mentioned before, we are leaving the year of the snake. The year of the snake was a little bit chaotic, a little bit restless. The earth energy of it holds and grounds it a little bit more than a typical, like if we were to have a fire snake, it's a little wild and crazy. But a lot of that has that earth energy of calculation, of being strategic, very monitored and calculated, making sure that everything that you're doing is being observed. And while you might not have consciously been able to rack and tally every single thing that you did, your subconscious did, your body did. That's something I want to highlight and underline. Your body recognized all of your alignments and misalignments. It knows where you're meant to be and where you're meant to shift from. Okay. Now, we are heading into 2026, the year of the fire horse. It starts on February 17th, and this shift is going to be huge and transformative for anybody who is really ready to step onto their path. If you are not ready, it is still going to be huge and transformative because things will probably be ripped if you aren't in the process of moving through them right now. We cannot, as we wake up and as we become beacons of light and spiritual beings, energies for God to work through, right? The divine energy. I'm going to use the word God because that's what I feel comfortable with. I mean, God, source, universe, not a man in the sky, right? I had a client today who said that. I was like, I love that. But for me, that is the easiest word to use. You should fill in whatever word you wish to use for that. So, as we become these beings who are here to help other people to find their own personal light, we get the opportunity to move through this much more quickly because the astrology helps us more, the transitions helps us more, the transits help us more, the collective shifts help us more, the Schumann resonance helps us more. We continually get more and more and more energetic help and support. That means it's even more and more and more important for you to make sure that you are truly aligned with where you are going. Because if it doesn't align, you are going to get strangled. You are going to feel that. We'll tap into that later, and I'll explain some of my own personal experiences with that. But it is important to trust that if it doesn't feel right, don't abandon yourself with it. There you go again. I'm bringing my own personal fear of abandonment into this. So let's look at some of these additional transits that have been happening this last week. So I posted this workshop I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And on Monday, we had Neptune enter into Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It is the beginning. And in this, we are starting that 14-year cycle that I talked about in the beginning. You are going to be starting a whole new process because what you worked on these last 14 years is exiting the arena. It is not for you anymore. If you are ready to let go of that pattern, let it go. Now, say it actually. I let this pattern go. When we feel that wash over us, sometimes we just need to make that decision to let it go. And it can be so powerful. So, interesting story. Monday, I decided with my business partner, Rebecca, that we would part ways, right? We had been doing the channeling school for about 6 months, 8 months, and it had gotten to a point where it didn't work with our timing. I want to commit more time to my family and to things like this. And her timeline was very different. And so it felt important for us to honor our own internal alignments and part ways. So that happened for me on Monday. Then on Tuesday, my partner and I, romantic partner and I, split. This was equally challenging. While I could feel it coming, and there were signs when I look back, I knew in a sense that things weren't feeling fully aligned. And in that, I had allowed throughout the last 6 months other energies to start to guide me, right, on my path, even though I knew that it didn't feel so right. I felt like I was abandoning myself. And I did it, right? I did at times abandon myself because I was working on removing that abandonment wound from my field. That is hard, right? It's an evolutionary process that we must go through in order to release these things. And my dog just came downstairs. Hold on, I'll be right back. I gotta get him upstairs. If any of you have seen my big dog Rue, he's a giant black lab, and he likes to sit on my lap when I'm working, and it's a little hard. So the point in sharing all of this for you is that the energy of these astrological transits cannot be tampered with. It is powerful and it is forthcoming and it is forceful. You cannot walk away from it. That's it. You cannot deny it. You cannot close your eyes. You cannot hide. So we have to remember that. This is why these things energetically came up those days for me. The second thing that happened was on Tuesday. Well, I'm sharing this with you because this is pertinent to what we're doing tonight. This is spiritual initiation. Tuesday, I did, in preparation for this workshop, I actually did a meditation to release my fear of abandonment. Okay. What happened 10 minutes later when I came back from a meditation, my partner and I had the conversation and we split. That was it. Technically, I was dumped, but it is what it is. um, so I was given then, okay, you're ready to release this. Perfect. We're going to show you that you're going to be just fine. This is how these energies work. Again, we're going to talk about spiritual initiations and how these things show up later on, but I'm using these as examples for you to see how quickly the universe responds. It wants to help you, it wants to support you, and you are here to move through it. Now, what happened yesterday was the full moon in Leo. When we have these full moons, we are being asked to release things, release what doesn't work with us, and let that go. This full moon was all about releasing things that were holding you back from your creative expression, from you truly being who you are. That is why the energy of today is going to be really powerful for you as we dive into more of these in-depth topics for yourself. What is keeping you quiet? What is keeping you from being seen? What is keeping you shut down in the space where you are, right? That is important to register in your system. We are clearing that from us right now. The energies of full moons tend to work in about 3-day blocks, right? So that would be anything that happened on Saturday, yesterday, or today. So these energies will really still be potent through what the work we're doing on today. Now, the next thing we're going to hit on, we're also on the 2-2 portal, which is really powerful and important because on these portal days, they have numerological benefits. Today's about harmony, right? When we're looking at the Neptune and Aries energy, this 2-2 energy, it's about finding internal harmony within you. How do you find that space that makes you feel good? Now, when we're looking at when the fire horse year starts, it's on 2/17. It's in about 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks to continue to move through these things. I'm pointing this out to you because these 2 weeks are going to be awakening for you. They're going to be opportunities for you to address anything that has been hiding under that rug that we just completely removed. There is no rug to hide anything under anymore. There is nothing that needs to even be hidden, though, right? I need you to remember that. Nothing needs to be hidden. Everything deserves to be on the surface because it is all part of this beautiful universe, whether it's chaotic, messy, dirty, whatever. It deserves to be seen, to be released, or it deserves to be seen, to be acknowledged, and then it can be moved through. That's an important thing to remember as we are doing these things. So we have the eclipse on the new moon eclipse on the 17th as well. That's going to make it extra potent for new beginnings. I mean, we are talking so powerful, so eye-opening, and the transformation that will occur in the 3 days around the 17th, it's going to be very quick, very surprising, and a lot of people will actually experience what they're saying is very, very new opportunities will come up. You might have unexpected money come in. You might have unexpected endings come through. Some really quick, unexpected energy is going to be handed to everybody in the collective. And the other thing that's happening on that day is it's Mardi Gras. The next day, we start Lent. Why am I highlighting this? Because Lent is a 40-day experience. When we're looking at these 40-day ascetices, I can't say that word, it's so annoying, but this restriction of our energy for 40 days, whether that's a vice, or typically it tends to be a vice or something that we use as a crutch. When we use these timings very particularly, I'll use that word, we are creating an opportunity for us to launch. When we remove the crutch, chances are we won't go back to the crutch, right? If we are in a spiritual awakened sense, we get to the point where we realize we can live without this crutch. We don't need this. And what is it distracting from? So I urge you to think about that as we're going through this experience. When you get to that day, there will be opportunities for you to really expand yourself. And I have something called 40 Days of Integration that we're doing over on Evolve Sovereignty, which is the community that I have. And it is something that is really transformative. And I know that part of the things that I've experienced releasing from my system has been because of these 40 days of integration that we've been working on. We're on like day 23. So in that, you can always sign up for something like that to do it on your own as well. It's an integrative process, and it has been extremely transformative for me personally going through the whole system. So remember that. Also, to highlight the collective, the elite, the churches, all of these people use astrology for the benefit of their organization. If we don't use astrology as a tool to better ourselves, to better our experience, to help us along the way, it will use us as a tool to exact something on somebody else, right? So I point these out to make sure that you're paying attention to these really big shifts that are coming for us. Now, we're going to talk about something called the sacred pause. And we're all going to do it together. Now, the sacred pause is something that is really important for our processing of what we are shedding. When we go through a lot of release, it can be emotional and it can be painful. But at the end of the day, it is a discomfort that we have to feel so that way we can find the way to move forward. I want you all to sit comfortably. And we are going to take a deep inhale in through your nose. And I want you to take an even slower exhale through your mouth. Continue doing this. Drop your shoulders. Feel your body relax. Right now, we are coming back into our bodies. You are coming back into yourself. Feel your belly expand with your inhale and breathe down into it. Now, this breath here helps you to access the sacred pause. Now, this is not just a physical, it is also metaphoric. It is short, it is long, it happens at different octaves in your energy field. The sacred pause is critical for you to be able to process and move through all of the different emotions, energies, and mentalities that you are experiencing. The sacred pause is something we ask you to do when you are feeling overwhelmed, when you are feeling as if you want to aid yourself with a coping mechanism or strategy. We urge you to use this one at first. Now, this sacred pause can be a minute, it can be 10 seconds, or it can be 10 days. It is limited input. It is a key to regulating your nervous system through allowing calm, limited input, peace, and incubation of all of the energy that it has received. As you go through this sacred pause, you will find a rhythm within you. You will find a call to your soul that allows you to feel calm. You will also, if you have suppressed them, find a flow to your emotions. In that, you allow yourself to feel so that you may truly make the changes that are required of you to anchor in the reality you wish to hold. Throughout this evening, you will be asked to join us on a sacred pause at different times. And we encourage you, if there are any times where you are feeling overwhelmed or emotional, to take your own. If there is one tool we want to stress for you, it is the reminder of these words: the sacred pause. Even the words elicit a deep breath within, not just the sigh of your physiological self, but your energetic. It clears, it restores, and it calms. Allow this quiet integration to become part of your system. Biotorekia airuku oirekia. So how is everyone feeling right now as we have allowed ourselves to come back into a state of peace with that pause? I know I was channeling a little bit, but they allowed me to feel the energy of the pause. And through doing it myself earlier, I felt the profound shift that it had for me, because that gave me the opportunity to come back into myself, come back into my heart, and remind myself, you're okay. You're okay. You're safe. You're loved. You're protected. There's no saber-toothed tiger chasing you. It is okay. I like that. So one of the things that we're looking at today is blocks and misalignments, and how these misalignments can lead to looping, spiraling, financial pitfalls, physical sickness, shifts in your capacity. What I mean by that, shifts in your capacity, is this idea that, maybe 6 months ago you were able to work 8 hours and do this and send all the emails and exercise and make dinner and meal prep and do yada yada yada, all this stuff. And then over time you've felt this contraction, not as a wild you know con- a contraction that actually doesn't feel great, that feels like you're collapsing in on yourself, not like stepping into your divine feminine energy where you're supposed to do less, but this like inability to do something, like your capacity, your container has actually shrunk. You might feel lower self-worth. You might have relationship troubles, communication that can come from not showing up authentically. And that can be in work situations, romantic settings, familial relationships, but overall just a dissatisfaction with how these relationships are showing up. And there's the reminder that we go through many dark nights of the soul, right? And when these blocks are all coming together and we're starting to get this bottleneck feeling of our energy is your energy is trying to push through and bring you up to the top, but you've got this like really hard situation where you can't get through it. It's like Superman trying to break through, the stratosphere. He's pushing, 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 pushing. The energy is trying to move, 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 but you have all of these things in the physical, this physical mesh that won't clear. Those are your blocks that you're trying to get rid of, that you're trying to release. And so tonight we're going to be identifying some of these things that we want to let go of and move through. Now, how do we do that? I use these 3 principles with all that I do. We are here in this process of becoming sovereign beings. That is remembering that the power has always existed within you. You are the source of your own power. You are the divine being of light. You hold all of those energies. And as you awaken to that and find the truth, you begin to sort of align to the reality you wish to anchor in. I've awakened to this truth here, and I don't like what I'm seeing. So I'm going to choose to actively align to something different, and then I'm going to anchor that into my reality. Now, you have to be truthful to get these things that you are anchoring to actually stay within your reality. If it is not aligned with you, it will not anchor. It cannot, right? You cannot at this stage in the game. After 2012, we were no longer allowed to anchor things that could not stick. Yes, we could do it for a little bit, but each year we get past 2012, we are on this trajectory, especially if you are choosing the spiritual path of life, that things that are not aligned cannot anchor. It's important. It is important for those who are servants of the higher energies and for those who are here to illustrate the magic of the energy. We can't do it. It's hard, but we can't do it. So, this is where being honest with yourself and finding your heart alignment is so crucial, so, so important. And I'm glad that a lot of people have put in the chat that they feel relaxed, calm, the gentle shift after that sacred pause. And so I love that. Breathing lighter, feeling calmer. Okay, so back to the sovereign principles. Sorry about that. We're going to remember what we do when we awaken. Awakening is the first step of the awareness process. If we are looking to shift our reality and to shed something from it, we have to awaken to it. We have to awaken to the full essence of it. As you are awakening to the true essence of the pain or the misalignment, you get to see how it is truly represented within yourself. Now, many times you can be confused by what feels painful and triggering, thinking it is a misalignment, but it is simply an open wound that needs to be addressed. This is where you must sit in the discomfort. There is an importance in this energy, an importance in taking the sacred pause within this energy so that you can truly move into your highest, most peaceful spiral. If you choose misalignment when it is truly an open wound, you will simply align to this pattern once more. If you do not do the process of understanding, you have no ability to truly make the shift and change. As you awaken more, your consciousness expands. And so we urge you to trust that you will know if it is misalignment or a wound at this point. Once you expand your consciousness, you begin to become more aware instantaneously of these shifts rather than having to repeat them over and over and over. Yes, you may still experience them to some extent, but they will be smaller, gentle, not as all-encompassing as they once were, because you have become attuned to the energy of your heart, the heart alignment that exists within you. Right now, I'm going to ask you all to do a short meditation with me. We are going to be looking at what we need to shed. If you've made your list, I want you to pick something on that list. It might be a person, a place, or a thing. It could be a pattern. And I want you to hold it in your heart with love. It is important that we are transmuting and releasing these things with gentle kindness to ourselves and understanding that as we go through this process, misalignment does not necessarily mean morality. Not all things that are not aligned for you are bad or good or anything. It just simply is not for you. When we hold on to these things for too long, that is when we can build resentment, then we'll call it misbehavior towards it, or that towards you, right? Which can then cause even more challenging things to happen. So this is where finding and living in that space of alignment is more important. So that way we don't get to that point where we build the resentment, we build the anger, we build the frustration. We simply let it go before we get to that point because we know it's not for us. Not that it's not, the trigger or the wound sometimes has to be addressed, and partners, people, family, these are all friends. They're all people who are there to help us see that truth within us. But we have to be able to hold the space and to evaluate the situation. Is it me? Is it a wound? Is it misalignment? Right? So I want you to settle in and to feel the light of your higher self coming through you. Allow the energy to flow through your crown, filling every part of you with each breath. The light expands. You fill your chest, your abdomen. It spreads into your whole auric field. It is the essence of you, the light of you, your higher self within you. Viotorea kioko oirea sea te ia ko koire te atiroko. Via aira kioroko sea te ira koskototo ire te ata. From you, you see the energy of strands of your essence floating all around. Your essence being pulled in different directions, in different places. And some seem healthy, but some do not. You can see where the energy is dark, heavy, burdensome, draining. And with each breath, the energy of your higher self begins to transmute these, to release them, to allow them to heal within you, and to release the tie to the energy on the other side. Fiorokia aio o so kira kia ora tia hioro koiria tiara kia oro koiria uro koia e o koire te tiara tiro kosia te ia skoto toire tia. Viore a kio hoiria ti kia kiro koia ea. With each breath, you feel more replenished, more full, more complete. The energetic balancing and the calling back of your energy releases the ties that no longer serve you from this experience. You hold a fear, a guilt, a pain within you, a pattern that is ready to be released fully from your system, from your field. You may have more than one. You may know all of them, or you may not have the words for them, but they are ready to leave your reality. Yerokosiate irokoia skoto oia e akiorokoia airoko. You look down in your hands and see a black cube. Via hirokoire siati irokoia hi kia aia uirea kia. This cube holds within it what holds you prisoner. Viohoirea tia kiusia heirato viateaka viata. And with a breath, it shatters. You feel the release of the energy, the knowledge that it holds, the understanding. You feel your power return to you, flooding in. A lifetime released Hirokia airoko irigaisi otokoya airoko kokia tiate. You are free of that burden. Pialaya kyokoya si utotoiria tiarakiako. You release this burden from your system, from your energy. It is no longer part of you. It is no longer part of your experience. It is released, and you are free. You feel every cell within your body buzzing, restored. The imprint of this pattern, releasing, resetting, enabling you to no longer allow it to be your general operating system. Fiorokia airosu tuia ioko ireteatiakio. You are free. And as the cube has disappeared, the shards returned back to source. Your higher self held within you. You are whole. Now I want you to take that sacred pause once more. On your time, you breathe in and slowly exhale, coming back into yourself. You can rub your arms, rub your legs, feel yourself, feel your body. We are here to clear this fully from your system, to let go of the things that do not serve you anymore, that are not here and do not need to be part of your experience anymore. Now, when we are going through this process of releasing, we experience what's called spiritual initiation. And one of the things that we can experience with that is that we start the process of the shed, right? Once we become aware, we can no longer unsee. We cannot go back to sleep fully. So the misalignments start to shed from us. They start to release so that we can fully up spiral. The more we hold on to it, the deeper we get into our hole of blocks, right? The longer we hold on, the more challenges we start to experience. But as we start to loosen our grip, allow the universe to help support us through it, we begin to allow the shift to happen. Now, many times, these will show as opportunities to break the cycle and pattern, right? My example of I released my fear of abandonment and I was gifted within 10 minutes the opportunity to break that cycle, to remind myself that I'm safe, I am secure, I am okay, and to move into a higher state of consciousness. This is not just physical ascension, spiritual ascension, it's emotional ascension, it's mental ascension. It is ascension on all planes of existence. It is elevating and expanding our consciousness in every single way. So, this is a reminder that the universe is answering your call. When you start to experience these things, the universe is starting to present you with what you're ready for, what you're ready to release. And it's there for you, for your benefit, and it's powerful. So it's just something to keep in mind that when you sign up for a workshop like this, or when you sign up for even an energy healing, you may experience these types of initiations. They can come in all sorts of forms, like maybe it's extra traffic, maybe it's being late, maybe it's a client falls through. Maybe there's an opportunity where, your kid gets in trouble at school and you're like, what does this have to do with anything? Well, it's gifting you something. And this is where it's your opportunity to sit with your sacred pause. Why is this happening? What is this for? What am I meant to see? And then you move forward. How's everybody doing? So would love to see if you guys want to write in the chat how things are moving, how you're feeling. We are going to head into our next stage of alignment, which will be another meditation to help you guys get aligned to what you want to truly call in for your next version of self. So in this process, we get to see how things are moving by calling in, we'll say, what is for you. So it's going to be a really cool opportunity for us to pull this all in. Lisa said it was powerful. Thank you. I'm so glad that was powerful. The first time I experienced the black box, I was like, what is this? This is intense. And everything kind of happened really instantaneously after it shattered, because that black box represents Saturn, and that energy is the physical nature of what we are experiencing. So when we crush it, when it disappears, when it dissipates and shatters, it is releasing the confines that that fear, that guilt, whatever that thing is that you released was imposing upon you. That is a visualization that you can use anytime to help you move through things. Lots of yawns, which are huge shifts. Yeah, yawns. And I've been over here feeling like this, like the burble gerbil come up a little bit, like because there is so much moving through in my solar plexus and abdomen. We anchor our reality through that space, through our lower chakras. And so when you're feeling those things, burble gurgle, yawns, so it's these extra essences clearing, right? We're both clearing, and we're both also anchoring in more light, more ether. And so as we anchor in more ether, we get lighter, and then we get air bubbles and things like that that come through. So it's burping and yawning are a really typical experience with energy work, especially when we're clearing like this. Very relaxed, listening to the words. Good. I'm glad that you were relaxed. That's very important. Sense of calm. And it was wonderful that you're releasing. The Lemurian light language is beautiful. Thank you. I'd say it is so peaceful when it comes through. And it's a really interesting thing. I know a lot of you who are listening to this are channels, and it's important to remember that as you're moving through some of these things, you may even feel that come out. Let it out. Let it out. Be part of this experience. This is your spirituality. I am giving you a container. You get to do with it whatever you wish, right? So use your light language, use your hands, use your motions. If you feel like you want to yank something out of you, yank something out of you, because you are the one who knows the truth. You know what aligns to you and what is moving you. So let that be part of the experience for you. Feeling calm and have the knowing that my fear is transmuted. Oh, that's so good. Love the black box. I even saw thunder and lightning inside the box, and then when it shattered, it was beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I love that for you, Lindsay. This is something I want you guys to remember, that that little box that was in your hand. And you can even do that anytime, right? You can do that anytime. When you're feeling it, what they're basically showing me right now is put it in your hand. If you're going through something, put it in your hand and, crush it, or just one's like crush it, but one's like if you blow it away, you'll see how little of an impact it should ever have in your life, right? And I actually really like that. The crushing feels really nice, but that reminder that it's just energy gone, that's really powerful. I also want to draw attention to the fact that like I just kind of stuck my finger in my ear. This is a nervous system regulation, right? So there are different types of ways that we regulate our nervous system. Sometimes it's rubbing our face, sometimes it's sticking our fingers in our ear like that. This gets our like vagal nerve going. So as we're moving through these things, pay attention to what you're doing with your body. Are you feeling like you need to like rub your hands, scrunch, any of this stuff? These are all nervous system responses. If you're feeling it, you can go ahead and rub your ears too. I love that one. I know sometimes I feel weird doing it or I don't realize I'm doing it, but I happen to be watching myself right now, so I saw myself. So do it, right? Your body knows more than you think and you give it credit for. Autistic children will actually put their hands in mudras. It's like the one is like this, right? Mudras and rocking is like self-soothing. And so they know how to do this. Trust your body when the energy is flowing. Let this all happen. Let it unfold because it's going to move through your system as much as possible. Lisa just said, my head always itches like crazy. Yeah, there's so many things that can just do it. Let it go. Let it happen. Let it transmute and aid it as you need to. So we're going to work together right now, and I want you to repeat with me because one of the ways that we can do these shifts, just like that sacred pause, is through our words and our intentions. So I clear and release all energies, entities, thought forms, and patterns that do not align with my highest, most sovereign, peaceful, and abundant timeline. I ask for gentle alignment from the energetic to the physical. Now, this right here, I use this in so many different combinations, but this is really the core of it. When we're aligning to a particular timeline, we want to make sure that we are calling in the timeline that we actually want. Many times when we call in our highest timeline, we don't actually mean our highest timeline, right? We think we want our highest timeline, but it's really chaotic because we've held on to so much that doesn't align with us, that the energy of aligning to the highest timeline is so earth shattering that we can't really hold it in our nervous system. It's just way too much for us. So, this is where asking for the gentle adjustment from the energetic to the physical is important. When we become part of the process rather than allowing it to just happen to us, we start to gently recognize, okay, I feel like this is coming for me. Okay, I feel this shift happening. Okay, this is bubbling up for me. How do I move through this? When we ask for the gentle adjustment, it makes sure we don't get a carpet rip, right? Nobody wants a carpet pull, table pull, whatever, tablecloth, I'm not a magician, right? I don't want to pull a tablecloth out and have hope that the plates stay. So I want it gentle. I want the plates moved to the side and then the tablecloth folded off and then the plates put back down, or the rug just like rolled up and taken out in the trash. Like No, thank you. We don't want extreme chaos anymore. Now, that doesn't mean things don't happen quickly. Okay? I want to stress that. Things can still happen quickly, but maybe you're more aware of it, right? You have awakened to the energy that's coming through. So you intuitively know what's going on, where these things are, what's happening, right? We want to make sure that we are aware of these things. So when we are clearing, we are letting go of the energies, entities, and thought forms. Thought forms are important because thought forms are actually more powerful than uh, a lot of energies and entities. You want to know why? Because you're the thought form. You're creating the thought form. You are magnetizing the thought form, and you're pulling that into you and into your reality. And so that is extremely crucial for you to release. That is your fear. That is your trigger. That is your stressor. That is your guilt. That is the thought form that dictates your patterning. This is why we always want to include thought forms from what we are clearing from our system. I use this almost every day, a form of this. I align to the frequency of my higher self nearly every day. And these are extremely powerful ways for us to just energetically allow our higher self to do, I'll say, the heavy lifting of identifying and knowing what we have to let go of and all of those things. Yes, you can do nitty gritty too. And you will be asked to do nitty gritty at times, like we did before, right? When we were clearing something specific. But when we are aligning to something, we don't I don't pretend to know what is best for me. I know that I don't always know what's best for me, as exhibited by what I had to let go of last week, right? I don't always know exactly what is best for me. I might feel it in my body, but I might not have the strength and wherewithal to be able to execute it on my own every single time because I'm still going through the process, right? We all are. Any spiritual leader who says they aren't and they're above it, well, they haven't been humbled yet, right? They haven't been humbled. And that is part of this experience, is to remember that we are all students always. We are all teachers always. We are everything always. And in order to truly expand our consciousness, we have to allow that to be part of us. We are always here to learn more. So I am okay with admitting it to everybody. And, and at the end of the day, uh, we become more aware of it, right? Like a pattern that would have taken me before 6 years to clear from my system was 6 months instead. So we're all on this process of making sure that we get into that alignment more freely, more readily, more regularly. And that's where we all are, right? That's where we all are. We're consolidating timelines so that we can be more aligned. So when we are in this process of alignment, we want to sit and follow what's in our heart for clarity. I mentioned earlier about this idea that, like, we go to psychic readers and we want someone to tell us what's going to happen next. And they can read the energy. I can read the energy. But guess what? That energy doesn't have just one timeline. There might be faded points, but there are timelines all over the place. And only you can really hone in with your heart on what timeline you are actually on. I have found a lot of readers who feel what you are most excited about, right? I have had people read me and feel what is the biggest thing in my field, not necessarily what's aligned, and have read that. And there's nothing wrong with that because that is part of my experience. And everything that somebody tells me outside of myself allows me to then come back into myself, into my heart, and see, How does that feel? Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem to really sit in me. And that's where we have to learn, right? Um, we are in the process of all expanding consciousness. And in that, everybody has more ability to change the timeline that they are on. 10, 15 years ago, you could go to a psychic and it was like spot on, dead on, like nothing was going to change. It was just going to be it. That's because not as many people were awake to their multidimensionality, not as aware of the fact that they can change where they're going, right? And so as we start to quantum leap, to shift, to do different things, we are finding what is most aligned for us. Now, this whole process is important to recognize that, like, are we in this place where we are using alignment as a coping mechanism, or is it true alignment, right? I'll give this example. You have a really challenging thing happen to you at work and you really are pissed off about it. So you decide, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to go start a business on my own. I'm going to stop talking to my mom and I'm going to instead go volunteer at the retirement community. Is that a coping mechanism or is it alignment? Right? If we look at the idea of the woman who got so angry at her mother, she stopped talking to her and started then instead volunteering at a retirement home. What happened there? She was trying to fill the void of not having a healing, healthy relationship with her mother by inserting herself in a place where she could find other motherly figures to provide that for her. What is that? That's a coping mechanism. That is not actual. Maybe it is aligned to an extent, and it is needed at that time for her to find some truth in something, but it is using a coping mechanism to cover up what the true issue is, which is probably some fundamental aspect of their relationship. And that's not going to be really addressed immediately until she goes through it with enough of the people in the home to have that highlight to her what she's missing. This is where we start to understand the importance of being aware too, right? We're going to bounce back and forth between awakening, that awareness, alignment, and anchoring. And it's constant. It's a constant flow of these three things, always. We also, when we are aligning, want to remember there's a balance between desire and drive. We might want something, but we might not actually have the drive for it. If we do not have the drive for it, we cannot achieve it. We cannot anchor it into our reality. I know that sounds sad, and people are like, you can manifest anything, you can take anything in. If your nervous system cannot hold it, if you do not have the drive to hold it, to do the work, to keep it, you cannot have it. We do have to do yes, when you sit back into your feminine energy, you don't have to do as much. Yes, sure. Things come to you. Yes, sure. But you also have to balance the realistic aspects of creation and how things work. And so each person, this is very individual. Every person has a different level of drive. Every person has a different level of aligned action that they're willing to take. And when we find that correct balance, only you can really lean into that in your heart and see, does this make sense? I want this and I want to keep it. So how do I do that? How do I get there? That is when we are aligning to the particular timeline that is for us. So it requires us to have conscious reflection and honesty with ourselves. When we are clearing these things, clearing these fears, I'll use my example again. When I'm clearing the fear of abandonment from myself, I have to have that conscious reflection and honesty. Where did I abandon myself along the way? where I was so afraid of losing a partner that I neglected what felt right in my body, what didn't feel good for me. That's where we again have to go and listen to our body. Uh, we don't want to move through these stages too quickly because, well, that's not true. You move through it at your pace. Maybe that's quick, maybe it's not, but you have to give yourself time to allow your nervous system to expand to hold the next thing that you're working on aligning and anchoring to. Otherwise, you just repeat the pattern. You just repeat, you just repeat, you just repeat. We don't want you to repeat anymore. This year is not for repetition of what has happened in the past. It is for new explosive behavior into something new, something beautiful. It is like the word that they're using is catastrophic change, right? Of the experience, a complete shift into something new. So to remember that, we have to listen to our body. We have to allow these alignments to come through for you in a way that is not you chasing something because you are unhappy. We have to truly alchemize, we have to sit in the discomfort, feel the feelings, allow them to release, and then move forward, right? Move and shift how we are behaving, how we are reacting, how we are showing up for ourselves and for others. It is that that truly creates what you can anchor into your reality. Otherwise, I have seen so many people, and I've done this too myself, manifest these incredible opportunities to them, but they cannot hold it because like they don't have a cup, they don't have a container. Their hands are open like this and it's just running through. We are here to create the container that can hold this for you. And this is where we're going to be working on the next this finishing this alignment up and going into the aspect of anchoring as well. So one of the ways that we can continue to do this is through statements like, I align to my highest, most sovereign, peaceful, and abundant timeline. These are the 4 words I like. I dropped highest for a little while because I actually literally needed to slow down. So I stopped using it, right? And that was totally subconscious, and actually wasn't subconscious. It was extremely intentional because I did not want the chaos that would come with me using the word highest. So you should use these words and craft them to the timeline that you want to call in. I urge you to be conscious of the nuances of each word. Work with your higher self and your spirit guides to find the words that fit for you. I have found that this combination works really, really well, really quick. So in this, I will leave you with that reminder that you get to create your reality. You get to create your spirituality. You get to create your experience through your words and your intention. So I'm giving you tools that you can use, and you get to shape them how you see fit. You get to use what resonates with you and also move past things that don't feel right to you. Okay. So we're going to do a quick meditation, and it's going to help you to align to this version of you that has healed those aspects that we just let go. So we'll take that sacred pause, take that deep breath in once more, and slowly exhale. Viotorayaki o irakia aia roko ireki roko siatiako. We surround you with the highest frequency energy of rose quartz and amethyst. Viorakia oie siotu uia airoko. In this space, you hold the frequency of your heart, the highest version of you that understands its own authenticity and compassion, that experiences those spaces of peace and love and trust. Vioroko ia oirekia sioto toira yaku. Before you stands the version of you that is most aligned for your experience, that will guide you to the new heights that you wish to reach, the new version of yourself that you are anchoring into this reality. Viarakia oia siatea airakio koia eiruko shkoto tearatea. They feel like you, they look like you, but there is an elevated sensation of them, an evolved feeling. For they have moved into a space where your fears, your guilt, your pain do not exist within their patterning anymore. Vierako oire kiasia totoro kierako. As you sit with them and hold their hand, you feel it removing from you as well. Aireyoko oia sio kura tuiertia. Fully, you had released the energy, and now it is being transmuted fully from your system, from your pattern, from your blueprint. Vyoko iarakia sia toto iria ku uia iraku. You understand that it may appear again within your physical reality in order to be fully cleared. And the version of you that has cleared it, they have a message for you. They have something to tell you about it and to help you embody the energy of moving forward. They give you something, knowledge, an understanding, a higher perspective, so that you may move through it seamlessly. Bioroko ia sioto oia airoko ia kiaroko ia yuroko ia siate tirako. Forgive yourself for holding this pattern for so long within your system, for so many lifetimes, for so many experiences. Forgive yourself now. Viorokoia siate ia urokoierekia I oroko. You are held and loved, and every aspect of you is perfect and beautiful as it is. For every moment, you are evolving into the exact person you are meant to be. Each choice you create and align to, that is exactly the one for you in that instance. Remember this as you move forward on your journey of expansion and growth. Viorko ierekia airoko siatete ia o ieku iretia iuku. As you begin to breathe deeply, your system begins to reset. You feel this new version of you becoming you. They step forward and slowly begin to integrate within you. You are this energy. You are the light. You are divine. Viroto eya hirokosi etira koshkoto oya fiototo. The excitement begins as you feel all that you are capable of. As you begin to breathe more slowly and deeply, you feel yourself coming back into your space. The frequencies that were supporting you begin to dissipate, and you are back in your reality. Here, the new version of you, aligned to it, vibrating at it, resonating at its frequency. It is you. You have shed fully the aspects of self that are no longer needed, and you have aligned fully to the version of you that will allow you to anchor in the reality you wish. Now, it is important to remember that as we are grounding in these energies, it is seamless when there is alignment. When everything is aligned, each step plays out before us, gently, carefully. And it is as if God or your spirit guides or your higher self is just placing the next step there for you. There is no fight. It is calm. It is peaceful. However, there is an aspect of aligned action that is necessary for you to take, for you to truly anchor in the shifts and changes that you have allowed to take place tonight. Part of that comes with increasing your capacity, allowing yourself to be able to hold more. When we're working through these things, working through anchoring in our new reality, we have to take steps to do it. The most powerful manifestors can make things appear, but if they are not aligned and their nervous system is not able to hold it, they cannot keep it. So tonight we're going to work on just a couple of different techniques that you can move forward with that are going to help you to shift this capacity, to allow yourself to hold these things more readily. Now, some of them are going to seem silly, but when we expand our container and our capacity, we give ourselves the knowledge that we are capable, the understanding that we are safe, and the reminder that we are not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. In our experiences, we have to honor all aspects of what we're going through. And the process of anchoring allows us to truly do that. When we are living in hope, we are not necessarily living in our embodied truth. Now, I say this gently because it is always important to hold hope. But when you are going through the experience of releasing misalignments to anchor in a different reality, you have to have the understanding that sometimes hope is placed in places that cannot fully support it. it allows us to overlay upon our reality a massive rose-colored glass, right? That prevents us from seeing the truth of the situation. When we allow our nervous system to regulate, remind ourselves that we will be safe, we will be okay, everything will work as it is meant to, we begin to be able to make decisions that are more aligned and easier to anchor. In this, I want to talk about, we mentioned a little bit earlier, this idea of coping mechanisms. Um, there are different types of coping mechanisms that can appear as we are going through this process and as we are learning to anchor in these higher frequencies. When we are getting there, the challenging thing is that we sometimes see our coping mechanisms as something that they're not, right? We might see them as just needing rest. We might see them as taking care of ourselves, even, right? And sometimes we have to recognize I'm coping with something that's preventing me from being able to actually anchor in the reality I'm choosing. Again, I'll be the guinea pig and talk about myself with this because it's easier, and it's helpful to see, like, examples played out. I have different coping mechanisms for when I am processing something versus when I am hiding from something. Why am I talking about this here in anchoring? Because, as I mentioned before, all three of these happen simultaneously. We're constantly moving these things through all the time, right? So we have to remember that if we're having a hard time anchoring something in, well, let me see what I'm doing right now. What is happening in my reality? Okay. If I'm in the process of hiding from something, chances are I'm probably either eating or sleeping. Those are my two go-tos. Like, I just get tired and I zonk out and I'm, sleeping 10 hours a night, 12 hours a night, whatever. Um, and in a sense, that's making it so that I don't have to be conscious to have to look at these things. So now what's my truth? Well, I see myself doing this thing again. Oop, I've fallen into this thing where I'm sleeping so much and I'm having a hard time anchoring something in. So what do I have to do? Oh, now I have to go and look and align to something new or align to something else. Something's out of alignment for me. Awaken to the idea of what is out of alignment, find the right line so that I can anchor in more easily. When I am processing something, my coping mechanisms are different. I don't eat and I don't sleep, right? It's funny how they're like the complete opposite. I guess it's not really funny, but that's how I manage these things or subconsciously. So moving through that, I'm bringing this up to you because as you're trying to anchor things into your reality, you're going to have to pay attention to these nervous system triggers that come up that prevent you from expanding your capacity to be able to hold these things that you're anchoring. And your nervous system and your coping mechanisms are so entwined that they're going to rat on you instantaneously, I promise you. I promise you. And so when we're going through that, how do we stop this? How do we release this? Well, we awaken to it. We understand, oh, wow, look, I reached for a bag of chips again when I'm not actually even hungry. So what's happening here? What am I stressed out about? What am I hiding from? What am I choosing to not actually acknowledge? And now that I'm not talking about normal chip eating. I'm talking about like bags and bags and like not bags. Okay. They're like, just don't exaggerate. This idea that like I get acne when I eat chips. and it makes me upset. And I know that that's my trigger. So when I'm subconsciously reaching for something that I know is going to be destructive to me and cause me something that's going to long term cause issues, there's something going on. We have these behaviors that we're all working to unravel. And yes, we can replace them with something else, but knowledge is the most powerful changing experience that we can have when we're going through this. So bringing knowledge to those triggers is important. Bringing knowledge to those coping mechanisms is important. Now, we all have to have coping mechanisms, right? That's part of the process of our nervous system. We need to have something that we can do to help us. We want to talk about the fear of abandonment again. I realized had this mechanism that was in place that every time my partner left the house, I'd open the closet to see if there were still clothes in it. Brought me back to this idea of when I was a child saying to my father, "Are you still like, I'll see you in the morning, dad." Like the checking on things. So what we're doing is learning, I'm doing this behavior. Why am I doing this behavior? Being honest with yourself, because it's going to shine the light on what is happening. Now, what can you do with that then? Then you have the conversation. You have a conversation with yourself, with the person that you're um, in the scenario with. You address it before it gets to the point where the universe addresses it for you, right? That's what we're all working towards, becoming more well-adjusted human beings so that we can have the conversations to the point where we don't wait for alignment to become a morality issue. It's more of a, hey, this is just not in alignment anymore. And so as we go through that process, we start to find our truth. We start to find our point of resonance. So this one's going to sound silly, but this is a nervous system regulation thing. This is increasing your capacity. I want you to think of one thing, and we're gonna, yes, we're gonna do a little bit of meditation too after this too, but this is more like human energy. Anchoring is more human. The most human aspect of all of these things is the most human, because you have to anchor these things into your reality. You're working on your lower chakras, right? We did awaken is up here. 1, 2, 3. Alignment is in your heart, or if some people feel like in their sacral too, right? Alignment is in your heart. Anchoring is in your root, your solar plexus, your sacral. That is your lower foundational chakra, your earth star. Those lower energies are where we anchor. And so it's very physical, it's very human, it's very here in this reality. I want you to pick something in your home that frustrates you that you do. I'll go first. I hate doing dishes. I hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. I had an ex-husband who loved doing dishes, so he would do dishes all the time. It was wonderful. Probably stay in the marriage longer because of that. I didn't have to do dishes. Just kidding. Not really. But it frustrates me every time I have to do dishes. I don't like it. I see and part of me reflecting upon it, right? I had to sit and reflect upon it. Well, why don't I like to do dishes? Well, because I never really had to do dishes growing up. I never really had to go through that experience of doing it. And, we use paper plates a lot and all this stuff. So, like, this concept of like cleaning up the dishes is just so annoying. The other aspect of it is I am highly psychic and clairvoyant, or not so much yes, clairvoyant, but also claircognizant, have like conversations a lot in my head too. And the sink, next to the sink is where I call my dead person spot. Like, I constantly have somebody there talking to me. And it's where I do my meditative listening. So if I'm not in a state of receiving and I don't want to hear what I actually have to do. I will avoid the dishes at all costs. It hurts to say that. It hurts to say that, like, I don't wanna hear my own intuition, right? Because so I avoid doing dishes. But that's the truth I had to come to, okay? So I want you to find and so what have I done to shift this, to make sure that I stay in alignment, that I continue on this path forward, is I've made a promise to myself that I will leave my sink empty. Yes, empty as possible. And if I leave dishes in the sink, I have to do them before the end of the day. And I'm trying to do them every time I go into the kitchen. I make sure that something's moved out of the sink. This sounds so silly. We're in a spiritual event and she's talking about doing her dishes. Yeah, because it's grounding. Having a home that is clear and clean is a very grounding energy. When we are messy, chances are we're depressed or we're having things that we're not able to really fully process. So for me, doing the dishes is a task in my home that I'm using to increase my capacity. I don't have the mental burden of walking past it and being like, "Oh god, there's dishes in the sink, I gotta do those." Right? That mental capacity, that drain, that strain, that frustration weighs on us. It prevents us from being able to anchor in the other things we want in our life. So, I want you to sit and think of something in your experience, your home. It could also be in your car too, right? That you can do daily that will make your life easier. Something small. It could be keep it small. Don't make it I know some of you are thinking of something too big. Don't do it. That's too big. It's supposed to be something small, manageable. Don't expect to clean your house top to bottom every day. No, it's something small that you can do. Maybe it's making sure that nothing is on your bedside table. Keeping that space clear of clutter. Pick the one thing that will help to alleviate some stress within your life. That is all you need to do to increase your capacity. Once you have that as a routine, as part of your system, you can expand to something else. When we quantum leap, most of us go so far, so hard that we cannot actually hold what we create and what we call in because our nervous system hasn't caught up to it yet. We haven't fully decided to make all of the changes that are necessary. So it comes in and then we're like, what do we do with this? I don't know. And then it collapses. So in order to keep this, I want you to think of this as like call it like a bi-monthly task. You want to add a small thing onto you every day. You might be at a stage where you can do one a week, right? Add something new to your repertoire once a week. But when you add too much, especially if you're a type B person and you add too many things at once, you're going to drop them all of them, every single one. So it's adding one thing at a time, manageable, being human, doing these things, expanding the capacity, expanding the container. And in that, you begin to start to create a different reality very quickly. I had a client today and I loved what they told her to do. I'm going to share it. They suggested to set 2 alarms, one in the morning when they were by themselves after they dropped their kids off at school, and the second in the evening at some point, ideally after her kids were in bed. She's got young kids. And you spend 5 minutes coming back to yourself. Call it the sacred pause, right? 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes a day, coming back to yourself, breathing, checking in. How's my body? How am I feeling? What's going on within me? And in that, you start to become more connected to yourself. You start to the whole point of it was about how do we stay consistent? She's in a place where she's lacking the ability to be consistent in these things. Since many of us have a challenging time being consistent with our spiritual practices, or we have a hard time being consistent in general, because guess what? When we understand that we are multidimensional beings, what does it mean to do the dishes? That's ridiculous. Like, why do I have to be bothered with eating? Right? We are trying to remember that we are in this experience being human. We are lucky to be human. We are blessed with physical bodies, and we have this opportunity that once we're gone and out of here, we're gonna be like, man, I really wish I had enjoyed that a little bit more, right? I'm asking about life reviews right now, and they're like, yeah, 99.9% of people wish that they had enjoyed it more. And we can do that by giving ourselves more grace and building our container that we can hold more in, right? If we can't hold the overflow, we can't fully be here and allow what is for us to flow to us. So that's the silly task I want you to do. There was a lot of talk about that, but I'm driving it home because you are human in this experience. All of you are star seeds. All of you have had experiences in different places. All of you are multidimensional divine beings of light. My God. But right now, you're also human. And you have to honor that so that you can fully get every ounce out of this experience and become the ascended master that you are meant to be in the next iteration of self, right? The expanded version of self. And there was just this knocking right next to me as I was saying those things. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it's pretty wild how those things work. So remember that through this experience, you are doing exactly as you were meant to. Be kind to yourself, hold yourself, and love yourself. Now, we're going to do one more, and it is I anchor my highest, most sovereign, peaceful, and abundant timeline. I'll tell you what, every time I say one of these, I get this huge, that giant sigh. That physiological sigh is huge as well. So if you want a physiological sigh, this is another nervous system regulation tool. I want you all to try it with me right now. It's a double inhale and a slow exhale. So in through your nose. So we're breathing through our nose twice, one quick and then up again to fill even more, and then that slow exhale. So lean into what works best for you for your sacred pause, right? Feel into what your body needs. But that double inhale is extremely efficient at activating the vagal nerve, which can help us calm down and to self-regulate. We are working with regulating our system, feeling our emotions, allowing these things to happen. It does not mean we're always going to be calm, right? It does not mean we're never going to yell. It doesn't mean we're not going to have outbursts. But it means we're going to get back to square one more quickly, more readily, more easily. So we're going to do one last quick meditation before the time is out. I want you to feel within you a braided energy of light coming down through your crown. This is the energy of your higher self and every aspect of your multidimensional self. Feel the threads of this braid as they activate fully through you, anchoring into your Earth star. Kyoko siati iaroko oyash kototo iretia. Every version of you that you wish to call forward exists within this braid to help you, to guide you, to bring forward to you the most beautiful alignment, the most expansive experience, the understanding of whatever it is you need to clear and move through. This braid holds within it the understanding of greatness, of power, of love, of peace, of happiness, of pain, of suffering, of sorrow. And it holds within it the neutrality of the middle pillar, the understanding of truly anchoring in the balanced energy of your true self. The perfect balance of the multidimensional and the physical, the understanding of how to create from the heart space and to anchor into this reality the most beautiful, karmic free energy. The energies that allow you to live in an existence that honors your divine connection and your embodiment of your true self. In this braid holds the energy of divine timing, divine will, divine connection. And it helps you, it assists you, and it enables you to hold more, to anchor the dreams that you have. It also gives you the ability for presence, for it is the presence that you offer that enables you to move deftly through your experience, through your reality, knowing that every answer, every experience, every opportunity is in line. As you breathe, you feel the braid becoming one with you. The answers, the knowledge, the understanding, and the pain and the challenging aspects of the experiences within this braid, it is different. For it is the understanding of why that exists in its place of pain and suffering. It is the understanding and the direction, the knowledge of how to move forward. That is what exists within this braid. It brings to you your strength, your understanding, and your sovereign power. When you require knowledge, awakening, understanding, help with alignment, we urge you to find it within this braid, this energy of you, of all of you, anchoring in from the 12th dimensional space, to know from the higher perspective all things. We are so grateful for your choice to shed the patterning that no longer serves you. We are here to support you through the transition of the physical changes that you are about to experience within your reality. Please call upon us, call upon your higher self, call upon your multidimensional energies anytime to assist you through this beautiful process of expansion, of shedding, and of anchoring in who you have truly been always. While it might feel that it is your new self, you are being initiated into the self that is you, the ascended, expanded, and sovereign version of you. We love you so unconditionally, and we are grateful for you in this experience. As you come back, I want you to remember how magical you are, how incredible you are, and how powerful you are. You are about to embark upon the most incredible journey, and I am so excited for you. So excited. The ideas that have come to you throughout this experience, I want you to remember them. I want you to write them down. We are in a space, a container of complete alignment for where you are right now and where you are going in the future. So hold that. Hold that. Allow that to be part of you. Allow this energy to come into your space and to sit within you, because you have got this. You can do this. I know you can. So what's next? If you're looking to experience more connection with these energies, you can join Evolve Sovereignty. Evolve Sovereignty is a community that I chose to start and shift off of Patreon because this was something that had been calling for a long time. And the idea of it is to help you step into your sovereign energy, help you become more connected to these energies for yourself. The Evolve Sovereignty community is free. I'm working on doing a monthly meetup group, as well as channeled messages and different activations throughout the month. And that is free. The Sovereign Sanctuary is the membership based portion, and that is a little bit more intense. Right now, we're in the process of doing something called 40 Days of Integration, where we are working through building foundational stages for all of us to move through, from our foundation to our heart space to we're now on our multidimensional awakening. And then we're going to be integrating everything, which is actually going to be more boring than anything else, because that's about bringing all of this down into our humanness, which is wonderful. But it's really actually the most powerful aspect of it, because remember, that's how we ended today too, more in this human anchoring. But the Sovereign Sanctuary, as we move out of the 40 days of integration, we'll have more connection time, more workshops, more integration, and opportunities to build the community in that way. The last thing is alignment mentorships. Now, this is a new type of mentorship that I'm offering, and it's 2 1-hour sessions a month. And it's really about helping you get into your own personal alignment, feeling more comfortable and confident with yourself on your journey. And so that's available through this Evolve Sovereignty community. You can also find it in my link tree. And it's really about getting you attuned to you. Yes, I will channel a little bit, but it's really this remembrance that the power has always existed within you, and you are stepping into your own sovereign path and becoming that for you. So that's my spiel. And all of you will get to the chance to, you can use the same link again. I'll send out another email with the link and some other information for those things that I just put up. So links for you guys to access that. But I am so, so grateful for you guys being here. I'm so grateful for all of your donations. And I am so appreciative of the community that I have come across in this whole space. You are all so incredible. I am so grateful for all of you. I didn't cry this whole time. And I'm like, don't cry now, Chrissy. Don't do it. Uh, but thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for experiencing this. I am so excited for all the things that you are about to step into. I mean, they're like the energy is just like it's like about the contraction before the so I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So thank you guys all so much. Oh my gosh, it's so heartwarming to hear all the things. How beautiful this time was. Oh, thank you, Denise. Diane, that was so magically powerful. Thank you. You're so welcome. Oh my God. Oh my God, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A profound, extraordinary experience. Oh my God. I'm gonna screenshot that just so like I keep it and be like, they're like, Chrissy, do it. Uh, voices in my head. I am so grateful for you guys, and I am so powerful. Oh, and guys, we're getting call outs for the 40 days of integration too. That it's a big pillar. So thank you guys so much. I am so grateful for you. I love you all. And I will see. Oh, and upcoming soon. I don't have a date yet, but sometime in February, I'm going to be working with Judy Weaver. We're going to be doing another event like this, like a donation-based workshop. And it's about the Ascended Masters, working with the Ascended Masters. There's going to be a lot more channeling, and it's going to be powerful, and I'm super excited for it. Judy Weaver is an incredible channel and a really powerful spiritual teacher. So I'm super excited, and I will make sure that I send that out to all of you so that you guys have that on your record and you can see if it resonates with you. And then I will see you all soon. I love you.